Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Superman House of Brainiac Special Number One. This is a new comic from DC Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. Now, this book is titled House of Brainiac Part 2.5, really. It is comprised of three different stories. So it's really interesting that DC would present something in a fashion like this. But we have writer Joshua Williamson with art by Edwin Galmon, colors by Jordi Belair, letters by Dave Sharp. We are revealing here the secret history with Lobo, an essential issue in the Action Comics Superman crossover as Brainiac's secret history with Lobo and Sarnia is revealed. How did Brainiac create a bottled city of Sarnia? Who steps up to protect Metropolis after Brainiac's army leaves in ruins? And will Lois confront Perry White about his own secrets as he runs for mayor of Metropolis? Also, how is Amanda Waller involved in all this? All these questions are answered in this crucial issue that connects DC's Superman-sized event. We also see Bilbo stepping up in this issue, and with the heroes gone from the city, in need a champion, our favorite bartender has to organize for the community to be saved in their beloved home. So yeah, this issue, like I mentioned, is comprised of a few different stories, right? The main story is how did we have all these Zarzians come into the picture? I think that's something that we've been wondering. Uh, I I think it's cool that they're doing it in a separate issue because it doesn't take momentum away from the ongoing storyline in the main Action Comics Superman issue. Now, this is an extra issue that you don't really need to buy, so I wanted to make a video to see like explain what the stories are going to be, and that way you can be a little bit more informed about is this essential reading? Should you buy it? What are we getting here for our buck? So, um, like I mentioned, I think the main story, the secrets of Zarnia, it's really well done. I think it explains everything. It goes into detail. It at points feel a little bit goofy. It also explores the relationship between Lobo and Superman and how they kind of are different but also similar as the last survivors of the race, which Superman's not the last one because they've introduced so many other ones, but that was kind of the pitch, right? It's a really interesting parallel, and that is definitely displayed here in this spread where we see that their parallel lives are very different, right? Their society was destroyed. They were sent out to escape and survive, and they've gone now into their own different paths. So I think that's very cool from the team and Joshua Williamson to kind of point out. Now, the second story, I don't really, I'm not really following the Perry White storyline of him being the mayor. We do see, Bibbo is a really interesting character that I think a lot of people like. So if that's your jam, you probably will like that story. This is an oversized issue, so like the stories have plenty, like you get plenty of story with each of these pages. And then the last of it, we do have some really cool stuff uh, connecting all the things to the absolute power event that's coming up, right? So the last story is definitely all about Amanda Waller and how things are going to play out. So overall, I think it's not essential reading, but it's definitely adds a little bit of something, especially that first story and the last story. They really connect to things that are going to happen in the DC world. So I think if you have the room for an extra comic this week, because it is a low volume week. I think there's not a lot. There's annuals and stuff right before Free Comic Book Day. So let me pull up some of the preview art as well. This is from the main story. This is really cool stuff, actually. I really like. I think Edwin Galmon just is a fantastic artist, and I really like the way that he displays the story. The character designs are goofy and fun, but yeah, I think it's really well done. So I think it's definitely worth your time. Um, I just love the textures and the feel of this comic book. And then as we go back in time, introducing this scientist from Zarnian and introducing a whole society there into that place that I feel like sometimes we just think of as this kind of savage land. So we don't know much about Zarnia, so it's really cool to explore that here. But yeah, overall, I quite enjoy this. Definitely recommend it if you have the room to spare in your pull list for this week. So, if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for a new book from Distillery, The Blood Brothers Mother. What an interesting title, by the way. Just throwing that out there. This book is written by Brian Azzarello with art by Eduardo Rizzo, letters by Jared K. Fletcher. This is a new series from Distillery. So, in this series, we have the legendary creative team behind the crime series 100 Bullets reuniting. In the old American West, three children set off across the wild Texas frontier to rescue their mother, kidnapped by ruthless outlaws who gunned down their preacher father. Throughout their journey, they'll face the harsh elements of an unforgiving landscape, deadly animals hungry for blood, merciless bounty hunters, and so much more, all in a relentless quest to rescue their family. Along the way, they'll learn the terrible cost of revenge, although not for just their lives, but in how it stains your soul. While revenge may be satisfying in the moment, it leaves yearning behind that lasts a lifetime, and once you taste it, nothing is ever so sweet. In the tradition of the Searchers, the outlaw Josie Wales, Blood Meridian comes this new brutal western from Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo, the Eisner Award winning team behind Vertigo's classic 100 Bullets, and also the Image comic Moonshine. This is for fans of 1883, which is that Yellowstone prequel series, Blood Meridian, and also The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, if you are into westerns, I think this comic will be right up your alley. Let me start with the preview because I don't have a lot of pages available. There was only a couple pages available, but Eduardo Rizzo is a legend when it comes to comic books, and I'm so amazed and impressed to see how this doesn't feel like anything I've ever seen from Eduardo Rizzo. Like it just feels like a completely different style. Maybe it's been a while since I've read some Rizzo books, but they just feel so different. The I think the color wash really helps out. The lines feel a little bit less heavy than normal. Like if you read 100 Bullets, it sometimes has that heavy inking, that heavy lines. But it looks like Rizzo really wants to give this a different feel, which I really appreciate. Like, being such a classic creator, changing up your style for something that will be as different as this, just it's really, really cool. Uh, so I think another thing that I really enjoyed about this, it really embraces the tradition of westerns, right? It offers a portrayal of violent men shaping the territory, and then just the environment matching up that attitude with their grim visage, the reminiscent of like classics, like like mentioned Blood Meridian, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, stuff like that. I've already touched on Eduardo Rizzo's just probably delivering some of his career best work, like utilizing this blend of pencils and watercolors. It just really creates this iconic imagery of the American Southwest, and it also reflects, in contrast, the beauty and the brutality of this environment. The issue primarily serves as a prologue, really. It feels like this is everything that's happening before we really kick off on the adventure. It introduces the readers to the world, to our main characters that will be following along, and also to the level of violence that you're probably going to expect from this book. Uh, the book doesn't shy away from portraying graphic violence, including a sequence depicting some really rough stuff. So a little bit of a content warning there, for violence and sexual assault. So be aware of that. But the book doesn't really shy away from any of those dark themes. And then, despite the bleakness of the comic, I think in some of the most tense scenes, there's still some unpredictable action sequences. And then just like the character dynamics really all kind of work together to bring you this gritty western. So I think it's going to be an interesting ride. I definitely feel that this book's not for everyone, but I think the distilleries made it very clear that these books are they're gonna put them out and let the audience find the right book for them, right? Whether it's all the series from distillery or just picking and choosing, right? Every book has been so different so far. They're really just letting the creators take the handle here. So I really think that's very cool. Because obviously this creativity is what pushes the industry. So um, we're gonna end the video with one of my favorite covers, but there's so many variant covers because, of course, this is a comic book and this is a distillery book. So not only is it oversized, they have plenty of room to do these really nice wraparound covers. But if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to talk about Vengeance of the Moon Knight #5. This is a new book from Marvel Comics, also a tie-in into the Blood Hunt. This is actually so. Before we get into the creative team and all that, this book takes place right before Blood Hunt begins. And when I'm saying right before, I mean like it leads up right into the first pages of Blood Hunt. So I recommend reading this first. I actually read them out of order because I wanted to really check out Blood Hunt, and I hadn't been able to pick up my copy of Vengeance of Moon Knight #5. But if you really want the story to kind of hit in the order that is intended, you want to read this first, and then you go right into Blood Hunt. We have a video in the channel comparing the both versions of Blood Hunt. Right, we have the regular version and the red band variant. So if you want to check that out, make sure I'll link it in the description of this video. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written, of course, by Jed MacKay, who is also leading the Blood Hunt, with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, colors by Rachel Rosenberg, letters by Corey Petit. This issue focuses on 8 Ball. So we continue to see the exploration of the members of the Midnight Mission as they're talking to the therapist that had been helping out Mark. In this issue, Cry for the Moon, for the new and vengeful Moon Knight, taking Mark Spector's name isn't enough, as he now turns his sights and fists on everything Mark held dear. So that's right. We got the big reveal in the last issue. Um, it was not something that I was expecting for sure. It was definitely a character that I didn't know much about. So if you haven't read the last issue, I'm going to spoil it. It is the Shroud. And when you see why Jed MacKay picked that character, I think everything will become clear, and you'll see like, God, this was really, really, it was really well planned out. So let's talk about the art a little bit. Alessandro Cappuccio has been handling Moon Knight for a while now, and I think he's earning the status of one of the definitive artists for Moon Knight. I think his combination of this very stylized art for sure, but also I think Rachel Rosenberg's colors and the inks that we have here, like I love these little like brushes, right? There's a lot of little imperfections and the way that the shadows and the lights are used all throughout the issue. I think everything just works so well. Of course, Hunter's Moon and Tigra, just like very dynamic looking characters to begin with, so it all really plays very well with the sequence. Here we see 8 Ball. I will tell you this: the 8 Ball story part of it, I'm not very familiar with the character, so I didn't. It's important, I think, and I need to go back and reread it. But I was so focused on this leading up to Blood Hunt and the reveal from the last issue that it was not definitely at the front of my mind. But just look at these sequences. The Shroud is going crazy, and I love that the character even kind of in a bit of a meta way acknowledges that the Shroud only stands for failure and doesn't mean anything, and it's a character that's been really underused and underutilized in the Marvel books. So yeah, very cool stuff. I can't wait to see where this goes, not only in the blood hunt stuff, but also just overall with the series and the characters. Moon Knight has to be coming back at some point, and I expect it will be maybe at the end of Blood Hunt. things hopefully will go back to normal, or I Khonshu has to become liberated at some point. So yeah, check this out. Check out the Blood Hunt #1 issue. And if you read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. So that's it. That's all. Yeah, I don't have anything more. We already talked. Oh, I did read Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
I'm
It's
excited
fun.
about that. Yeah.
It's,
fun. Okay.
it's pretty gruesome, which I don't think the original strips were like as violent.
No,
No,
they were more
they were pretty violent though.
really okay. I just remember the
I feel like it.
faces being distorted and
Oh.
almost like a body horror type thing. I mean, at least that's the way it looked in the live action movie.
Yeah, it's pretty clear, at least from two of the covers, that this seems to be playing off of the Warren Beatty. At least like look, because I mean Dick Tracy looks like Warren Beatty, at least on the cover.
Yeah.
So I can actually show you guys a little bit. I have visuals ready.
Nice.
Hold on.
I'm really curious about this one because again, I did not have Dick Tracy Revival on my bingo card.
Oh, that is violent.
I
I mean, it's his dick right on the front. So I mean, come on, that's not for kids. And then this is by Alex Segura and Michael Moresi with art by Geraldo Borges, maybe. But yeah, it starts off in like this diner where nobody's supposed to be able to find you. Of course, that's a myth.
That's Flat Top.
And then boom.
That's the great thing about Dick. Oh my God!
That is a lot of blood.
I love the visuals in this. I love that the narration ends here in the blood on the floor. Like the narration that we've been listening to through the first 5 pages after the gunshot here.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just too late. It's still the narration that's just on the ceiling splattered with blood.
Oh wow.
Fantastic. So yes, I'll do a full review for it, but since I had it ready.
I am weirdly hyped for this book.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Agreed.
Especially because just like a year or two ago, I say that it may have been during COVID, but I rewatched the Warren Beatty Dick Tracy movie, and it's not terrible. Is the thing? I mean, and it's visually stunning. Like it is really beautifully filmed. So
yeah, and Warren Beatty's been making like these little mini sequels to hold on to the rights to it.
Right? Yeah,
dumping them on YouTube and. Like it's really weird, but like he really wants to, I guess, make something, but he just has been sitting on the property for a long time.
So does this comic mean that's finally lapsed, or did they have to go to him?
It maybe print is different than
that makes sense.
Film.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, because I wouldn't think they'd sell print rights to a feature film guy.